Hi, this is Congressman Jeff Fortenberry, and I'm talking to you today from one of the office buildings in the House of Representatives complex, and I'm with a friend, Colonel Bill McCollough, who courageously has served our country in a variety of capacities and now has a very special role here in Congress as our liaison to the military branches, and we're really proud of his service and work. And the reason that we're talking today is I want to hear a little bit about his story, because in Nebraska, week after next, we're going to conduct the Veterans History Project in conjunction with the Library of Congress. And if you are a veteran and you'd be willing to tell us your story, we'll record it for our nation's archives in the Library of Congress and to give to your family. So although Colonel McCollough is still active duty and not technically a veteran yet, nonetheless, would you mind sharing a little bit of your story, Colonel? Maybe the first time we met, I was new to Congress. Sure. You were kind enough to escort my wife and I around, and we were so touched by not only your service, but the sacrifice that you were enduring for our country, particularly at the height of the Iraq War. Would you mind sharing a little bit about your story?
Absolutely, sir. You know, when we talked a little bit earlier, you'd ask what prompts a young man or woman to become a Marine, and at this stage, now you approach your 50s, it's really hard to crawl back and really understand what your motivations were when you were 16, 17 years old.
And you're still doing it.
So I just know I had good parents, and some sort of service to this country was always something talked about at our dinner table. And the pathway that kind of was illuminated for me was to become a Marine, and it stuck, so to speak.
And the day that we met, though, you told us that you were almost on your way to Iraq.
Well, you were elected in 2004, right, and it was new member orientation 2005, and I remember it so well. And I already had orders. I was going to be leaving this assignment here, and I was headed back to a battalion, and we were going to head to Iraq. But what struck me, I mean, it's a neat story, and it stayed with me all of these years, was I met you in Celeste, and you came to Washington, D.C., and I was proud to be one of the folks that said, "Welcome to Washington, D.C." And it was in those early days, before you were assigned an office, and before you had a BlackBerry, and before you had a full staff. And I saw one of my roles is, let's make sure this congressman has everything that he needs. And I talked to you about some of my roles here, and one of them was I like to connect members of Congress to their constituents who were wounded and recovering from wounds over at Bethesda Hospital. And both you and Celeste said, do we have a constituent from our district? And I said, actually, you do. And it was the day you were sworn in. I don't even know if you remember that, but it was right after you were sworn in. Celeste was here for your swearing in. And that was the first act that you wanted to do as a sworn-in congressman representing your district of the United States, was go visit one of your constituents. And I remember the van ride over there. I remember talking with you and your wife. I remember the visit, and then I remember the trip back and how you talked to me about what you hope to do as a congressman. And
well, Colonel, if I could interrupt you right quick. You reminded me of this the other day when we got reacquainted.
That's right, at the Library of Congress.
It's extraordinarily generous of you to tell that story. And by the way, I begged him not to tell the story because I wanted this to be about him. But nonetheless, I think you can see there what we're trying to do as representatives, as the people of America, is be in solidarity and harmony, giving our warfighters, our service members, everything they need in order to keep us safe. And it's good men like Colonel McCollough, and many, many good women who are stepping forward to continue to do this in this day. So what we're going to do, Colonel, back home, is anybody who has ever served, whether that's been in Vietnam or Korea or World War II, if you will, Desert Storm, moving forward, Iraqi freedom, anyone who's ever served, even if they didn't see battle, if they cleaned or computed or cooked,
it's
or
all
then
required.
had to pick up a rifle, all of it is beautiful service.
The big machine requires
That's right.
everyone to do their particular piece.
So
and it all counts.
It all counts.
Matters.
And that's the beautiful gift of the military, this very large family that's interconnected and in solidarity, and that's what we want to convey, not only our thanks and gratitude to you for your service, but also to continue to work thoughtfully and creatively as to how we give you what you need. And this is why we have military liaisons to the House of Representatives. But we'll be doing this again back in Nebraska. We're going to ask good
Thank you
members,
for doing that, connecting our folks, our veterans.
Absolutely. And so we're inviting people to actually come forward if they were in battle and want to tell that story, or if they never saw battle. Nonetheless, it all is important. We'll preserve their story in America's archives at the library and then give that to the family. So we're really excited to do this. Actually, I also have a person coming over from Normandy, France. Their family has been in that area for centuries. Their residence, that chateau, was taken and seized by the Germans and was German headquarters on D-Day. So this person who is shepherding that extraordinary building and wants to turn it into an educational center is going to come to be with us in Nebraska while we actually hear from our own veterans, and she's going to do a presentation. So
that's fantastic.
A lot of moving parts here, but I wanted to, first of all, again, thank you for your service.
It's great to run into an old friend again after an intervening 15 years.
15 years, and
there was
back.
a lot of fights in between there.
And he didn't want to tell the story of his own service because he's too humble. But this man saw action in Iraq, and again, we're very grateful for your willingness to put your life on the line for us. Would you mind stepping in, and we'll just wave at all the other liaisons?
Yeah.
Lieutenant, want to say hi? Yep. Here's the liaison office. Do great work, again, of keeping us informed of the military's needs. Thank you so much.